So, a brand new chapter has just kicked off for America's biggest city. With the inauguration of its 112th mayor, Zohran Mamdani, New York is diving headfirst into one of the most closely watched political experiments in recent memory.
Beginning today, we will govern expansively and audaciously. Wow. I mean, that's not exactly a promise to play it safe, is it? It's a bold declaration right out of the gate from his inauguration speech, and it really sets the stage for what his supporters are hoping for, and, let's be honest, what his critics are afraid of. A truly fundamental change in how New York City is run.
To really get what this new era is all about, you first have to grasp just how unprecedented his election actually is. This is about so much more than just politics. It's a story of breaking down some serious barriers. I mean, look at this. Any one of these firsts would be historic on its own, but all of them together, it's a monumental shift. He is the city's first Muslim, first South Asian, and its first African-born mayor. That completely changes the face of leadership in a city that prides itself on being a global capital of diversity. And if that wasn't enough, get this, he's only 34 years old. That makes him the youngest person to hold this job in generations. You're talking about a completely different generational perspective being brought to one of the most demanding political jobs in the entire country.
You know, his term began with not one, but two very different ceremonies. The first was this quiet, really symbolic midnight swearing in, hand on a Quran, inside a historic, long-closed subway station. The second was the big public inauguration at City Hall. That contrast right there tells you a lot. It's this blend of honoring the city's hidden history while also embracing the big public stage.
Okay, so who is the person behind all these historic firsts? Well, his journey from Kampala, Uganda, all the way to Queens and now Gracie Mansion is just as remarkable as his election. So he was born in Kampala, Uganda, and moved to New York when he was just 7 years old. And you can see on this timeline, it looks like a really rapid political climb. But the key piece of context here is his experience growing up as a Muslim in New York City right after 9/11. I mean, what a formative and no doubt challenging time. He went from that to winning a state assembly seat in Queens in 2020 to becoming mayor just a handful of years later. It's incredible. He's the son of the renowned filmmaker Mir and the academic Mahmoud Mamdani. And here's something that might surprise you. He only became a U.S. citizen back in 2018. It's truly a classic immigrant story, just playing out on this incredibly accelerated timeline, ending with him leading the very city he chose as his home.
All right, let's get to the real core of his administration, his agenda. It's not just progressive. He is very clear about calling it socialist, and it is aimed squarely at what is arguably New York's #1 problem, the crushing cost of living.
And he doesn't shy away from that label one bit. In his own words, I was elected as a democratic socialist, and I will govern as a democratic socialist. For him, this isn't just a political party. It's the entire ideological foundation for everything he wants to do. So, what does that actually look like in practice? Well, it means taking on the affordability crisis head on with 4 huge proposals. 1. Make city buses fast and free. 2. Provide universal childcare for young kids. 3. Freeze rents for all rent-stabilized tenants. And 4, and this is a big one, pilot city-run grocery stores to try and bring down food prices. Okay, so that all sounds massive, right? Which leads to the billion-dollar question that everybody is asking. An agenda this expansive, this audacious, is going to come with a huge price tag. So, where's the money going to come from? The answer, at least on paper, is pretty straightforward. His plan calls for higher taxes on the city's largest corporations and its wealthiest residents. The basic idea is that those who have benefited the most from New York's economy should be the ones to fund the services that make it livable for everyone else. Of course, a rise this fast with an agenda this bold doesn't just happen in a vacuum. You just know it's going to ignite some intense political and cultural battles. And it has, putting Mamdani and his identity right in the national spotlight. He faced some pretty ugly Islamophobic attacks during the campaign, and in response, he gave this really defiant speech. He made it crystal clear that his faith isn't something to be hidden or downplayed, but a central part of who he is, something he's proud to bring into the light. And the backlash, well, it was immediate and sharp. Responding to his inauguration, U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville posted on social media, "The enemy is inside the gates." It's just a really stark reminder of the kind of national political resistance he's up against.
And then you've got this truly complex, almost bizarre relationship with President Trump. On one hand, you have Trump calling him a 100% communist lunatic and even suggesting he should be deported. But on the other hand, he invited Mamdani to this surprisingly friendly White House meeting, offering to help him do a great job. It's a very strange and unpredictable dynamic that's probably going to define his relationship with the federal government.
So all of this brings us right to this moment. The vision has been laid out, history has been made, but the huge question remains. Can this vision actually become a reality?
And this really sums up the central tension of his mayorship. On one side, you have these sweeping promises of economic justice, universal childcare, free buses. But on the other side, you have the relentless day-to-day reality of just running New York City. Garbage, snow, rats, potholes, and all of that is on top of intense political opposition and that incredibly complicated relationship with the White House.
This is so much more than just a new mayor. It's a high-stakes bet on a completely new way of governing America's largest city. And whether this audacious vision ultimately succeeds or fails, one thing is for sure. The New York of tomorrow is going to be shaped by the answer.